All right, let's do a little bit of inequality, it, and absolute value actually too. So, it asks, what is the solution set for the following for this inequality right here? So, uh, when you have inequality at absolute value, when you have absolute value like this, the way to think about it is because we don't know the value of x, we don't know if whatever is inside of parentheses is positive or negative. What I mean by that is if we have x is equal to 0 or 1, so 0 times 3 is 0, 1, this is positive. This whole thing is positive. If we have x is equal to, let's say, negative 1, for example, negative 1 times 3 is negative 3 plus 2, plus 1 is negative 2. So the inside of the parentheses would be negative. So we don't know if this thing is positive. I'm saying the inside of the absolute value, this part would be negative. Of course, the absolute value is always positive. So we don't know if this is positive or negative. So that's what we're gonna solve. So the first thing, we're gonna have two cases. If 3x, let's do if this thing 3x plus 1 is positive. And then this one here, on this case, we're going to have if 3x plus 1 is negative. Okay? If it's negative. So here we're going to have if it's positive, here is going to be if it's negative. Here, positive. Alright, so how do we solve this? I'm using a lot of colors here. So if 3x plus 1, if this is positive, we're going to have the absolute value of 3x plus 1 will remain 3x plus 1. Because what I mean by that is, if this was already a positive number, let's say if we have 3 times 1, 3 plus 1, 4, the absolute value going to remain the same. It's going to be 4. You don't have to change the sign for it. And you'll see the difference here. And then the absolute value of this is going to be positive. So if this is positive, the absolute value of 3x plus 1 will remain 3x plus 1. So we're going to have 3x plus 1 is greater than 2. What does that mean? 3x. And then we're going to change that 2 from this side to the other side is greater than 2. This doesn't look like a 2. Minus 1, because we changed that 1. Change that 1 from this side to this side. 2 minus 1. 3x is greater than 1. That implies x is greater than 1 over 3. Yeah, 2 minus 1 is 1. So x is greater than 1 over 3. This is one of them. Let's try to see if we can find a second one. So if this thing is inside of parentheses is negative, if this whole thing is negative, the absolute value of 2x plus 1 is gonna, so what I mean by that, if, let's say, we had a negative 1 here. Negative 1 times 3, negative 3 plus 1. So you're going to have a negative 2. In order for you in order for this to be greater than this, greater than or equal to this, you're going to have to change the sign of it. Negative 2, positive 2, and then that's when you can solve the equation. So you're going to have minus the absolute, if this thing inside of parentheses is negative, the absolute value of this is going to be minus 3x plus 1. This is going to be greater than 2. So what do you say? Minus 3x plus 1 is greater than 2. That implies 3x plus 1. We're going to multiply both sides of the inequality by negative 1. When you do that, if you have an inequality, when you do that, you're going to have to flip the sign. Let me use black here. You're going to have to flip the sign. You're going to have to flip greater than. It's going to be less than. You multiply this side by negative 1. It's going to be negative 2. So we got 3x plus 1 is less than negative 2. 3x is less than negative 2 minus 1. Negative 2 minus 1. 3x is less than negative 3. That implies x is less than negative 1. Okay. So how do we graph this? So think about the line here. 0, 1, That's not a 1. 1, 2, 3, -1, -2. Okay, so how do we graph this? So it says x is less than -1. So anything that is less than -1 gonna be to the left of this. So x is less than -1. Anything to the left of this is the solution. Think about you have -infinity here, positive infinity here, infinity here. So anything that is less than -1 is going to be part of the solution. This first solution right here. And then we have a second solution. X is greater than 1/3. 1/3 is one third. 1/3 is right here. 1/3. It's greater than 1/3. There you go. So you have x is greater than 1/3. X is less than this. So the solution this is x is less than this, and x is greater than 1/3. So let's try to see if that's true. So let's take a number right here. Let's take -2. -2 times 3. You're gonna have -6 plus 1, +6. -5. Absolute value greater than 2. All right. So if we take a number here, 3 times 3, 9, plus 1, 10. Absolute value 10, greater than 2. So the solution is the set of solution is x is greater than 1/3, and x is less than -1. Yeah, it should be it. It should be it for this one, and yeah, that's it. And this is how you solve absolute value. The way to think about it, first thing is consider the case where the inside of this parenthesis is positive, and also consider the case where the inside of this parenthesis is of the absolute value is negative. So this is the solution for this, and that's it. Yeah.